Making Christmas, making Christmas. Did you guys know that in the off-Broadway production of The Nightmare Before Christmas, I played the original Oogie Boogie? That's not true. But here is some true tea. It's time for me to start making Christmas presents. Usually I'm done in like January, but I've been sleeping all year because I don't feel good. So, okay. This little birdcage deal was $12 at Hobby Lobby. I got it when it was 90% off because it's spring, apparently. So I paid like $1.20 for it. And I brought all this stuff out because I wanted to show you how I store my projects before I actually get around to doing them. So everything was just in a big bag. All my succulents, the birdcage, and then I have another bucket of succulents and some moss off to the side. And right now I'm just going through and figuring out what I want to make. What I want to use, rather. I know what I'm making. Actually, I don't know what I'm making at this point. I know that I'm putting succulents together with this birdhouse and I'm going to shove a candle in it. I got these string of pearls up at the top from Hobby Lobby. Everything else came from either Dollar Tree or Family Dollar. I think. Yeah, I don't think they were from anywhere else. I'm vetoing a lot of stuff right away based on the fact that some of it looks really shiny. Don't like the shiny for succulents. Some of them look really fake. Some of them are way too big. I mean, this thing right here, it's enormous. And I'm like, oh, I can make that work. No, you can't. No. You need like a bird cage for an ostrich to do that. So this thing was a little wobbly, like the lid was a little off kilter, so I did bend it back into shape before I got started. And right now I'm thinking, do I want to put the succulents like along the bottom? But all along when I bought this, I knew I wanted the succulents at the top. So obviously that's what I'm going to do. But I did consider like grouping them around the bottom. For a little bit I was thinking about putting them inside the bird cage, but I thought for sure that you wouldn't be able to see them as well, which probably true. And I'm just starting to glue with my string of pearls because that's the only thing that's going to extend past the top. And I am using my compressed air for this just because I don't want to sit there and hold these things for an hour and a half while they're cooling off. So I'm just kind of test fitting things first, and then when I know they go in there, I'm adding the glue, hitting them with the compressed air. It cools the glue instantly and you can move on to the next thing. So the string of pearls. I really liked this one, but it was so big. It was too long. And I could have cut it off, I guess, but yeah, I'm trying to put it everywhere. I'm like, gonna go here or there. This one, I don't. The green was too green against the dark purple. I really wanted like a purple element in there because there's some blues, there's some yellows, there's some greens, but I wanted that purple and I didn't really get it. Now this one's going in there, holding it down. And I do go back and add some glue around the back side because you're gluing onto chicken wire, which doesn't have that much surface area. So if you can go back in and reinforce it, that'll make sure everything sticks. And because I'm gluing essentially rubber to metal, I am using my glue gun on the high heat setting, which you'll see later when I burn my finger. Not really burn, just touch the glue and I'm like, oh man, that's hot. And then I remembered it was on high heat. So this is my little blue color that I was adding right there. And I'm trying to make this one work because it's like yellow. This succulent was so heavy. I don't know why it was so heavy. It was just extremely heavy. Like, that's too much. This is the same one I just put on, but I'm putting them across from each other because succulents in nature, like when they start propagating themselves, they send out the little baby succulents on the side. So I wanted them to look like they were kind of together, like they kind of came in the same car to the party. And you'll see me keep moving this little hanging loop. I'm trying to get that up in the air because if I keep it down, I'm just going to end up covering it up, and I didn't want to do that. So it's up a little bit, but it's also glued to the succulent, so it's not really gonna move around much. Because I didn't want it flexing back and forth and maybe possibly cracking one of the succulents off. So now, even though I picked out everything I want, I'm going through, and I wanted this, but then I was like, that looks like a giant pineapple. That's a SpongeBob house. So I said no. But now that I'm looking back at it, I'm like, I should have done that. But I'm really happy with the way it came out. So I'm adding another string of pearls up there, just tucking it in, making sure it contacts something, and then hitting with the compressed air. And then I'm getting another one in the back over here. When I bought this like maybe during the summer, and I don't know why I thought it was so much bigger than it was, but when I opened up the bag that it was in, I was like, wait, this is like small. So my dreams of having 35 succulents on top of it went out the window, which is fine because it did come out super cute. Now I'm taking this disgusting moss from Dollar Tree and I am filling any holes that are super obvious underneath the succulents, because they're not like flat up against the bird cage. They're kind of angled and tilted and turned, so I wanted to make sure I went in and cover up anything where you can see the glue or you can see the stems, or anything where there's just a hole. And now that that's done, I have this mess on the inside, so I'm just going to go in with my glue gun, with my moss, put the glue down, smash the moss into it, trying to get the moss as flat as possible, because that means it's making contact with as much glue as possible. Like the most amount of moss is making contact with the glue that's there. So I'm being generous with the glue, I'm being generous with the moss, and then I blow it out afterwards to get everything that's not attached. And right here I'm just trying to poke some of the moss through the holes. And see, my candle's gonna go in there. So I'm gonna take, and it's an LED candle, it's not a real candle. Don't do this and put a real candle in it. Your house will catch on fire. I'm putting glue around the base, just around the outside, not the whole thing, because I still want the candle to sit flat. I'm just going around the edge to add a little moss to the bottom, and there's that kind of scroll work at the very base of the bird cage. I keep calling this a bird cage. Is it a bird cage? I mean, kinda, right? It's got chicken wire on it. Because the moss will peek out through that scroll work. And when I'm done with this, I know I definitely go in there with the compressed air and just blow everything that's not attached out. There you go, see, going everywhere. And that's it. It was quick. I think it took me maybe half an hour to do this. And most of it was trying to find which pieces I wanted where. You can see the moss just barely peeking out the bottom. And my table's a mess. Not only is there stuff everywhere, but it's like a mossy mess. So this is what it looks like with the LED candle on the inside. It's one of those ones where the flame moves. And this is going to someone for Christmas. But they're probably not watching this, so be surprised. And thanks you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications, follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys on Monday, I think? I don't know what today is. What's going on? What day is it? I don't know. Bye. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. If you're not subscribed, I think you should be. Take great personal offense that you're not. So hit the subscribe button. Turn on your notifications. Let's have a fun time down on the farm. Today I'm working on 3 ornaments. They're all buffalo check, buffalo print, buffalo plaid, whatever you want to call it. When did I get that name? That's just plaid. I don't know when it happened. But I got a fat quarter of buffalo plaid from Walmart for $1.50 maybe. It was more than the regular fat quarters, but it wasn't, maybe it was $1.97. And I have a 1-inch styrofoam ball, and I'm cutting some strips, I'm ripping some strips of the fabric, and I made sure to cut them between the checks, because if you cut them just straight check, you'll end up with black and red and then red and maroon. And I wanted it to have black, red, and maroon, so that's how I did it. And now I'm just gluing this around to cover this ball. I did up and down, left and right, and there's two more sections on there that I'm gonna wrap around. You want to make sure these are pretty thin pieces, because even as thin as these are, I have to go back and kind of glue everything down because it's sticking out a little bit. But if you have to do that, that's just what you got to do, you know. So I'm bringing everything to the same point and not really worrying about what it looks like underneath, because we're not going to be focused on that. Pulling that one over a little bit because the styrofoam was showing. If you don't want to get the styrofoam balls, they're from Walmart if you do want to get them. If you don't want to get them, you can use the ping pong balls or the golf balls from Dollar Tree. They're both made of hollow plastic, and getting the wire in there might be a little something, but you can probably just use a push pin, push it in there, and then put your wire in and glue it. So I've got my wire in. It's not glued yet, I don't think. Just found a little space for it to go through and marked it, kinda. Now I'm gluing down some more of the flaps that are hanging out. Putting in some glue, and then I'm just gonna stick in that wire. Hey, I'm working with floral tape for this. It's annoying. The best way to figure out how to do it is to just kind of wrap something until you get it. You're going to put it on there, you're going to turn and pull the tape because it has wax on the back of it. Pull it to make the wax sticky as you're turning it, and then it sticks to itself. I had to put a little dot of glue at the top of these wires because the wires are very smooth and it's not going to stick to something it doesn't have anything to grip to. So if that happens, you can't get it to stick to the wire, you can just run, not even a dab of glue, just like run the nozzle over the edge of the wire to give it a little grip. And now these are bells from one of those door hangers. I haven't seen these yet this year. I saw them for Halloween, so I'm assuming they're going to have the same ones for Christmas, but I bought a bunch a while back, so that's where I was taking them from. And this is just a green foliage pick. It doesn't have to be this one from Walmart. It can be any kind you want. I just wanted to get a little bit of greenery in there, and I'm taping those on. I hate working with floral tape, but at the same time I'm like, oh, it's so easy to like get things together, because if I was trying to hot glue these branches to this wire, it would be like a disaster. So now everyone has a bell or a little piece of greenery. Some of them have both, and all I'm doing is putting them together in a bouquet and kind of staggering the balls, like one's up, one's down. I started with the bell because I had 3 of those, and then without the bell, and then another bell, and then without, and then another bell. And all I'm doing is making a pick out of these. And you could buy picks at any store that that sells them, at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Walmart, whatever. But with this, you can make something that's completely custom. You can use whatever fabric you want. You can include what kind of greenery you want, whatever. And when you go to put it in your tree, you would just stab it in there like you would a regular pick, or you can turn it and hang it further in. And I use the brown tape. It also comes in white and green. You can get white if you have a flock tray or if you're doing something lighter, or the green. The brown's a little bit harder to find, but you can get the green tape pretty much anywhere. Now I have an embroidery hoop. It's 4 inches, and it has a piece of stabilizer interfacing that I use to do my beadwork that you saw yesterday. I have a bunch of them already glued up, so I just grabbed one, and all that is the interfacing glued to the inner ring. Not necessary. You need something in there, but you could use a piece of cardboard. You could use anything. I just had these already done because I order them by the dozen, and then I get them by the dozen. And then when you hoop your fabric, just make sure that it's straight, because you don't want the buffalo check to be wavy. And these are some Scrabble tiles from Walmart. And I was like, there's so many in here, I'm going to need everything I have. There was only one I in this. It's like 100 tiles, and they only had one I. It's a vowel. You can spell it whatever you want, whatever you feel is appropriate. I'm going to go with Joy because that's nice and Christmassy. Yeah, I see two Z's on screen right now and they only had one I. What is that about? So if you're trying to make a lot of these, you're going to have to come up with a bunch of different words. I see three W's on screen right now too. Come on. And they only had one I? I don't love the font on these, but what are you going to do? And then I just added some more that, I think it's called, it's a sage pick, I guess. That doesn't look like sage to me. But yeah, added those, and then I added some little pine cones from the door knocker thing with the bells. This little sign, I got this at that ridiculous sale last weekend at Dollar General. Everything was, there was a clearance price and it was 50% off of that. So these were on clearance 50 cents. 50 cents off of that. I got a bunch of them for 25 cents. So you'll probably see them again. For this, all I did was take my fabric and cut it just a little bit smaller because I want the galvanized metal to still show. And then I glued it in the middle with the glue gun to hold it down. And now I'm putting some glue stick on the outside edges, but not gluing them totally down because I want to have a little bit of movement there, and I did fray the edges a little bit. And this is a little mason jar wood plaque thing from Walmart. I painted the raised up portion white like 3 or 4 times, and it does not show up. It was just like eating up paint, so I don't know. There are some little ice branches that I put on the bottom, and now I'm just taking some buttons and gluing them in there so it looks like a little jar of buttons. They also have a cute little house. These little wood shapes are like 77 cents. They had a house. I bought it, but if anything's smaller than a cantaloupe, I'm going to lose it before I get home. And I think that's what happened. It's either in my car or in the parking lot at Walmart. I don't know. And then if you wanted to, you could take the Scrabble tiles and put your name over here. Like if your name is like Fluzija, you could do that, or you know, home, love, joy, whatever, basic. And there's my my 3 ornaments that I really had fun doing, and they were quick. I really like the pick. Like you could do that any way you wanted after you know how to do it. I mean, you could do anything and completely customize it for your tree. I made some insane ones that are going on my tree this year. I'm excited to show those to you in a couple of weeks. So that's that. If you could remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notifications, follow me on Instagram, be my best friend, I would appreciate it. And I will see you guys Monday. Bye. Hi everybody, today I am making a place card holder for Thanksgiving which you can give to your guests as a little favor that they can take home and turn into a picture holder, picture frame deal, picture holder. This is a slice of wood from one of those big bags at Hobby Lobby. This is one of the bigger slices. They're not all going to be this big. I know you can buy them in packs where they're a little bit bigger, but there's a couple of ones this size in the bag. And as you can see, this one's missing some bark on the side. And look how happy I am because I found a bag of reindeer moss. I don't have to use the disgusting Dollar Tree moss anymore. Like, literally, this was the highlight of my week. I'm going in and I'm just filling in the raw wood on the side. Some of the bark sometimes loose, so you might have to glue that down too, but it's worth it to get the bark back on there. So yeah, there's some smaller ones in there. You don't have to make it as big as I do. Not that this is big. I mean, this circle's only like 3 inches. But I like the naturalness of the bark and the exposed wood and everything. So this was a clip from one of the back of those succulents, and what I'm going to do is glue this on here so it can hold the place card, and then after dinner you let your guests take it home and they can use it as a picture holder. And I thought it would be super fun if, you know, you got an instant camera and took pictures at Thanksgiving dinner that they could add right to it when they get home. And I'm marking a little spot right there so I know that's where my clip has to go after I'm done with everything else. I pretty much just used things that were within my reach. because I filmed this right after I filmed my lantern, so there's a lot of fall stuff around. Not much though, because I'm like almost completely out, which I think is good, so I can start fresh next year with fall florals. This is a leaf from one of the pumpkin picks, and I'm mostly just trying to give a little base so it's not just a moss covered piece of wood. And I put the orange one under the green one because the pumpkin's going to sit on top of the green, and I wanted there to be some contrast. So there goes my pumpkin, and I'm using my Gorilla Glue sticks for this just because that wood, it's dried out, but sometimes it's a little stubborn to glue to. I didn't have any problems with it, but I have in the past, like, been trying to glue stuff with hot glue to these kind of wood slices and had a little bit of a problem, but it was fine this time. I love those Gorilla glue sticks. And I still love my glue gun if anybody's still looking for a glue gun. It doesn't drip. I hate when glue guns drip. These are some of those berries from a pick at Dollar Tree, and you know they're always busted up, so I was just cutting the broken pieces off. And if we're talking about cost, these would be very, very economical to make. I think the most expensive thing would probably be the piece of wood, because you would use one of the pumpkin picks to make, are there 5 or 6 on there? Say there's 5. So you could get 2 of those to make at least 6, say, you know, however many people you have at your dinner. And then a couple of picks that you just need a leaf or 2 off of. Bag of moss. I think you could get them done for maybe $1, $1.50. And if you can't find the alligator clips, you could always look in the ribbon section at like Walmart where all the hair clips are to make bows, or in the beauty sections where the hair clips are. This was a clip off of one of the back of the clip-on succulents from Dollar Tree. So I'm just adding to this, making like a little diorama moment. And because I want the clip to sit up some without being flush up against the wood, I'm taking a piece of felt and making a little riser for it. You don't have to use felt, you could use anything that's gonna elevate the base of the clip off the wood some so you're still able to pinch it. And just sticking it on there, and the Gorilla Glue is great for this. I believe that green thing right there behind it was green heather from Walmart. I don't think there's such thing as green heather, but whatever. And now I'm just working to cover up. I don't care that the actual clip is showing, I just don't want the mechanics to show underneath. So I'm adding a little bit more moss underneath there and just kind of wrapping it around. And if you don't want the clip to show, you can always take a leaf or something and just stick it on the front of there. I think I'd do that later just to show you, but I like that you know what it is. Like, there's a clip there that's holding something up. And if you wanted to, you could cover the entire base of the wood slice. You could use a piece of wood, like one of those rounds they sell, like a piece of finished wood, and then cover the whole thing. I like that you could see the bark, and I like that you can see a little bit of the wood underneath it. So I didn't want to go in and cover everything. And if you do want to cover it, there's a leaf. I thought that looked kind of silly. So this is a gift tag that I took off of one of my presents from a couple years ago. My friend lives in Georgia now, so she hasn't gotten her present in forever. So that's what it would look like during dinner, and then she could take that home and put a picture of it. I didn't have a picture when I was doing this, so this is what a picture would look like. It's just like you know, like there's a little thing right there. But you know, an actual 4x6 picture. Tried a 5x7, that was too big. I guess if you made the base bigger, or moved the clip over. So yeah. I think it came out super cute, and just because the pen was there, I wrote the date on the bottom. You know, if you want to make one every year and give your friends a whole little village of tiny, tiny Thanksgiving dioramas. So there's the bottom of it, I think it came out really cute and it was fast. I think my raw file was like 15 minutes, so I edited down to that. And this is my good friend Clara. She's very smart and intelligent and interesting and creative, which is really surprising to me because her parents are dull as dishwater. But yeah, that's about it. You guys can like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. And hi, Clara. Bye, guys. Hi everybody, happy Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. What's going on? I'm here with a dupe for a Walmart wreath. Got some Dollar Tree stuff over here, but this is the wreath I'm trying to dupe. And I thought at first that this was felt, but it is like batting, and it is so much crappier than I thought it was when I first took the picture, because I actually went and picked it up and I was like, oh no. So I've got some felt. I've got the large 18-inch wreath, which I swap out later. I got my ruler, scissors, my glue gun, some masking tape. To do the 14-inch wreath, which I switched to, you need 3 sheets of felt for your wreath. You need 3 sheets of felt for your bow. And then you need something to cover the back with. So like another sheet of your wreath felt. And this video is a little broken up because I ended up kind of cutting my finger off halfway through. So I had to pause and stop hemorrhaging and then pick up again. But what I'm doing right now is marking these, the width. Is it the width? Yeah, the width. They're supposed to be marked every 2 inches. I marked them 2.5 and then I ended up with 2 on the end. So just cut them into 2-inch strips. The same way I am, and this is 3 stacked on top of each other, and I'm using some really good fabric scissors to cut these with. And so I got that one, and I made sure that I wasn't cutting it jagged or anything. And then here I'm like, okay, well, if I can pick this up, I can kind of just get in here and snip that. Oh no, okay, so I'm not gonna show you guys that, but that was me just cutting through my finger, and then I put a band-aid on it and it immediately filled up with blood. So here we are several hours later, once I am all healed and better, and I switched to the smaller frame because the big frame is just, it's so big. I don't have the best filming setup. It's just, yeah, see, those are my hands going everywhere telling you you can't do it, but I could do it, I just didn't. These pieces are 2 by 4.5 inches. You can get 12 from 1 sheet of felt. You need 36. I use 36. You might be able to get away with less, depending on how you place them. If you place them like I do, you need 3 sheets of felt. And the felt that I was using was from Create for Less. You can buy it in a pack of like 25, and they have a lot of unusual colors there that you couldn't get in a craft store. And that worked out too. It's about the same price as a Walmart felt, so like 23 cents. So you figure $2 a felt, maybe less. And I'm wrapping the frame with some masking tape just to give me a base to glue on. I bought this roll of masking tape like a week ago, and I have used it so many times, I don't know how I was ever doing anything without it. And right there I was just marking the cross braces because that's where I'm going to start gluing at. I had problems trying to lay this down one right after the other because I couldn't get them to have the right angle, if you know what I mean. So I just decided, let me divide the wreath up, and then divide it again, and then divide it again, and then all my pieces will be evenly spaced. That's the best way I can figure out how to do it. You could definitely buy yardage with this, but I didn't want to deal with wrapping. I'm tired of that. Like just wrapping the masking tape around was enough for me. So see, I have them on every thing, which is there's 6 of them. So on every little brace, And now I'm going to go back and glue in between. I'm making sure that I line up the center section. See, it's forming a ring with the tips of the felt strips. I'm making sure those are even. See, I'm like, oh, that was me killing an ant. There's ants all over my table. There's none in my house, but they're all over my table for some reason. So if you see anything moving around, it's an ant. Okay, so now I've got 12 pieces on. And to go in between each piece, I need 2 more pieces. But I want them to overlap each other. So I need to like glue 2 down, flip 1 over, glue 2 down, flip 1 over. And I think I speed this up pretty quick because it didn't take a tremendous amount of time, but it's repetitive. Like, I don't need you to watch it. I know y'all don't want to watch it, so that's what I did. I glued 2 down, I flipped the next one over the top, and I had a little bit of time to straighten them out if they weren't perfect. And again, when you're doing this, you just kind of want to align the edge of the strips to the edge of the strips that are already there. And see, if you did cut these a little bigger, you could probably get away with using less, because they'd obviously be a little bit bigger, but the 12 strips from 1 sheet was really the most economical way to use the sheet of felt. So here we go. This is like, I wish I could move this fast. So this took, I think it was like six minutes. I mean, it wasn't long, it was just like repetitive, and I'm not going to include that just to have a longer video. Like, my videos are too long enough as it is already. Too long enough? What kind of language am I speaking today? It's late. Okay, so I'm kind of shingling these all the way around. Then when I get to that last one, I just lift the first one up over it. This is the back side. That's the front. Everything's nice and evenly spaced. Everything looks nice and neat. And now I'm going through and I'm just gluing the strips to the back now. And it's really just a little bit of glue. Fold it in, hold it down. There's a lot of holding in this wreath that I get tired of real quick in a minute. I'm going to show you a little hack. I don't know if it's actually a hack because I shouldn't be doing it and I don't do it often, but you know. So this is when it's all turned. I went in my office, watched a little bit of TV, watched a movie, whatever it was, and now I'm using a 4 sheet of felt to make these little pieces to cover this up because you don't want the masking tape showing, but you could use some leftover cardboard, you could use anything. I just chose to go with the felt because I had like 80 sheets of it in front of me. And these are again the 2 by 4.5. So I'm going to finish that later. And now we're making the bow. So this is 3 sheets of cream felt. They're all nicely stacked up. And I'm very lightly putting a line to show me where I'm going to mark. And I'm going to end up with 9 3 by 12 inch pieces. When I was editing this video, I actually deleted a bunch of me just like writing stuff down and trying to figure out the math for this. So this I want to make sure that you guys see, because this, I didn't know what I was doing when I was doing this, but afterwards I was like, I don't even know how I did that, but it looks so good. I'm folding these in half and putting a line of glue to make the loops of the bow. And then I'm putting a little dot of glue in the middle and pinching it together. Okay? And then folding those edges back. So it's folded like a valley and then 2 mountains on the outside. And I've got 4 of those. Giving it a nice squeeze. Yeah, you can fold it in if you want. I just left them like that. You can manipulate them, see what you like, see what you don't. Here we go again. They're already folded in half, and now I'm folding these little tab parts back. And all this is doing is giving the bow some dimension, because the Walmart bow actually, and yes, I'm holding it in my mouth, I'm sorry. The Walmart bow actually had a piece of plastic inside of it to keep it all together. And now I am gluing 2 loops together to form the left side, and then I'll glue 2 more to form the right side. These look different on different sides, like the top looks different from the bottom, but you can pick which one you like. I liked it with the valley and the 2 mountains. You can do it with the mountain and the 2 valleys if you turn it upside down. Now this is the tails of the loop, which is 2 more pieces of the 3x12 felt. And all I'm going to do is dovetail these edges. So I have a nice little dovetail. Put a dot of glue in the middle of each one. And then I'm just going to fold them in half. But you're not putting it around the whole edge, you're just putting a dot in the middle. And now I'm using a scrap piece of the felt to glue the left side of the bow down. And this is just as a base. I end up cutting most of this away. And then I'm gluing the right side down. Then I'm cutting away the base because I have these 2 secured together and secured to another piece of fabric. Now I have this 1-inch piece that's just another scrap left over, and I'm going to glue it to the back, wrap it around the front, and glue it again. And this is when I'm really tired at this point of making this wreath, so I'm going to show you my quick little hack, little tip. Cut that off. Instead of holding it, I'll bust out the compressed air, turn it upside down, hit it twice. You do it once, it'll work. That's fine. Now see, these have the little mountains on them. I'm folding one to the left, one to the right, just to get them to lay flat. And I'm hitting them with the compressed air again because it instantly sets the glue. So if you're ever in a pickle and you need to dry some hot glue really quick, there you go. Not very environmentally friendly, but it was very late at this point. And now I'm using another little scrap piece right there. Do I use that? I don't know. So see, that's immediately, as soon as you hit it with that, it freezes it, and it's done. Okay, so I didn't use that little scrap piece. I'm just going to glue the bow directly onto the tails. And I'm like, oh my god, it looks so good, because I could see it in my head, but, you know, when you see something in your head and you're like, can I actually implement that? Especially doing it with no pattern, I was just cutting, pretty much. I was like, I don't want to use more than 3 pieces of felt, hit it with the spray again. And then I didn't know where because I didn't have the reference picture in front of me. So I didn't know if I wanted it at the top or the bottom or if it was on the side. It was actually kind of off-center to the side, like that. And that's how I eventually did it. It was still glued. I glue it at the top right here, and it's still glued there. I just kind of shifted it a little bit when I hung it up. So I glued it on there, and I do spray that again. I think I cut that out though. And if you push those loops in, because the bow is kind of big, if you push the loops in towards the knot in the center, the faux knot, it gives it a little more of a puffier look. But I was so happy with how this came out. I love that bow. I mean, I'm actually toying with the idea of making smaller versions to put on top of my presents this year. That's how much I loved it. It looks so cute. So that's it. Simple. It was what? I think it said $238 in the thumbnail as opposed to $16.98. Saved a lot of money. So if you made this far, can you like, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications, follow me on Instagram? I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys Friday. Bye. Hi everybody, it's 60 degrees outside and I'm all frisky, so let's make a lantern. I got this lantern at Family Dollar or Dollar General. I think it was Family Dollar. It was $10 originally. They had it 50% off, and then it was at $75. So I got it for $2.50. It's got a candle in it, not one of the flickering ones, but whatever. I made these little felt pumpkins. I made 3 because I thought the lantern was a lot bigger than it was, but it's not that big. And these are the florals that I picked out to go with it. I wanted to go like full fall with oranges and reds, but the felt color is called pumpkin spice, so it's a little off orange, I guess, and I took the little hanger at the top. So I couldn't get 3 on there without it looking ridiculous, so I settled for 2. which that first one was really too big anyway. So I'm just moving these around, trying to figure out what I like. Also trying to find the front of the lantern, which there really isn't a front, but I wanted the part that the candle dipped down the most so you could see the flame a little bit. Now I'm gluing this on top, a little off center, and gluing the smallest one off to the side. And these were both made with 12-inch strips of felt. The smallest one is 3 inches wide, and the second one is 4.5 inches wide. Making a bow right now. I don't like making bows. And I just realized I forgot to twist one of those loops, but it's already glued on there by this point, so what you gonna do? And I always make a little loop in the middle, just because I think that gives the bow a center. And I never make even tails on bows, almost never. I'm sure I have before, but I always find it more interesting to have a longer one and a shorter one. Twisting it up with some floral wire, getting it as tight as I can, and then because I'm gluing directly onto the lantern, I'm just going to end up cutting that wire off. I initially wanted to figure out some kind of way to make the top part removable so you could take off the fall and put on a winter, and take off the winter and put on a spring, but in the end I just decided to glue it on there. I have like 10 of these lanterns, so if I need more, I can always just make another one. Yeah, all these lanterns, they had a lot of them, and I was like, well, I can get a couple of them, but everyone I picked up was broken in some kind of way. So I stood there in Family Dollar amidst all the clearance, and I took apart a bunch of lanterns to put together one that worked. Like, one of them the candle was missing, and one of them the battery thing was missing, so I just went all over, took them apart, put them back together. For some reason, I thought this bow should go on top of the pumpkin. I don't know what was going on with me yesterday when I was doing this. Complex emotions, I guess, because that bow would look ridiculous up there. And now I'm fluffing this, even though I'm going to crush it, like, for the next 3 minutes of the video. But it's just behind the pumpkin, so it's giving a little bit of interest, but it's not some giant bow. These are the pumpkin leaves from that pumpkin stem from Dollar Tree that everybody was buying. You can see one of the pumpkins off to the left side of the screen right now. I just cut the leaves off. And most of the rest of this video is me just going around and filling in the spaces. I didn't want to completely cover the top, but I wanted a lot of it covered. I really like the way those felt pumpkins came out. These are the hops from the Dollar Tree. I used the green ones, the white ones, and a couple of the pink ones. And of course the Dollar Tree cotton. I'm running low on fall floral, so I had to use what I had on hand. Because you know Dollar Tree is already basically putting out the Easter stuff. Like, I like when stores put out Christmas early, but not at the expense of getting rid of all this current stuff, you know? Like, they have they have Christmas out right now, but that means that they've gotten rid of almost all of the Halloween is gone. The fall's all gone. And there's almost all the Halloween's gone. Just because I want a little lightness and brightness at the back, I added in, I think it's a dahlia or something, I don't know. More cotton. Matching bandana. And I didn't know about the pink hops, but then I was like, let me throw them in there. Because it's looking a little monochrome. And right now I'm just placing them, and then I go back and glue them in. And I do glue that leaf over because it was It was doing what it wanted to do, and I wanted it to do what I wanted it to do. And that just fell apart as soon as I touched it. So I think these were the last of my hops. I might have a couple of stragglers somewhere in the bottom of my floral box, but so yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I just put my pumpkins on and worked around them. My bow came out good. Sometimes my bows don't come out so good, but this one came out good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you liked it, could you like the video and comment and subscribe and, you know, all those good things that make YouTube say, hey, let's give this guy his money back. Because they've been holding my money hostage for like 2 years now, and I want it. So there you go, cute little lantern for fall. You can make a pair. So that's it. I will see you guys on Wednesday with something cute. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'll see you guys then. Bye.